Imagine a time when a new substance promised miracles. It glowed in the dark. It seemed to hold the power of modern science itself. It was added to cosmetics, health tonics, and even drinking water. But this glowing miracle was also worth a fortune. And to protect that fortune, corporations would lie, doctors would stay silent, and young women would be sacrificed. This is the story of the Radium Girls, the moment American industry learned that no balance sheet is worth a human life. In the early 20th century, radium was one of the most valuable substances on Earth. At its peak, it sold for $120,000 per gram, millions in today's currency. Companies sold the public a dream, but its most profitable use was luminous paint, used to make watch dials visible in the dark for soldiers in World War I. Demand exploded. Factories opened across New Jersey and Illinois, hiring thousands of young women. To these girls, it was a dream job. It paid better than any other factory work. They were called dial painters. Their supervisors taught them a specific technique to keep the numbers precise: lip pointing. Dip the brush into the radium paint. Place it between your lips to sharpen the tip. Paint. Repeat. Hundreds of times per day. They were told the paint was harmless. Some women even painted their teeth and nails for fun, glowing like ghosts when they went dancing at night. What they didn't know was that radium is a calcium mimic. Once inside the body, it doesn't leave. It settles into the bone, and it begins to eat. Slowly, the miracle began to rot them from the inside. Teeth fell out. Gums bled. Jaws literally disintegrated. One woman's jaw crumbled when a dentist merely touched it. This was radium jaw. But while the women were dying, the companies were calculating. This wasn't ignorance. It was a cold, actuarial decision. And the worst part was that the companies already had evidence that radium was dangerous. Behind closed doors, male chemists wore lead aprons and handled radium with tongs. They followed strict exposure rules. Executives had reason to believe radium was lethal, yet they told the women to lick their brushes. Why? Because slowing production meant losing money. Because admitting the risk meant admitting liability. When the women got sick, the companies fought back with a smear campaign. They pressured doctors to diagnose the girls with syphilis, a socially disgraceful disease, to silence them and stall lawsuits. One woman, Grace Fryer, refused to fade away. She was only in her 20s when her spine began to collapse. Her jaw was failing. She struggled to walk without pain. But she organized her co-workers and searched for a lawyer willing to take the case. In 1927, they sued the United States Radium Corporation. The company used every financial weapon in its arsenal. They delayed hearings, hoping the plaintiffs would die before they reached the stand. They buried data. They outspent them. Their goal was simple: let time finish what radium started. Public outrage eventually grew too loud to ignore. Newspapers published photographs of the women. Scientists confirmed the connection between radium and bone destruction. In 1928, a landmark settlement was reached. Each surviving woman received $10,000, roughly $180,000 in today's money. They also received a $600 annual pension and full medical coverage for life. It wasn't justice, but it was an admission. For the first time in American history, a corporation was held legally responsible for an occupational disease, not an accident, not a machine failure, a disease caused by the job itself. It forced companies to price safety into their business models. It laid the foundation for workers' compensation laws and, eventually, modern workplace safety regulation. The Radium Girls didn't just expose poison, they exposed a business model where workers were treated as a depreciating asset. One by one, the women faded. But they left a physical legacy. Today, the bodies of the Radium Girls are still radioactive. They will remain so for over 1,000 years. Their graves still react under a Geiger counter, a permanent physical debt that can never be erased from the ledger. They were told radium was a miracle. It became their executioner. But in their suffering, they gave us the right to survive our jobs. This was the story of the Radium Girls. Because no balance sheet is ever worth a human life.